ladies and gentlemen, my next guest really and truly needs no introduction. This Longford native has, from a musical perspective, quite literally done it all. Dermot Hegarty, good morning to you.
Well, good morning to you, Joe, and also a very good morning to all your wonderful listeners.
And thank you for coming in. It's a real thrill to have you in studio. And you see, the reason why this has all come about, and thankfully you and I, we were chatting recently, and you said, yeah, when I'm around, we'll definitely call in and have a chat. We met recently at a function in the Longford Arms, and we were having a chat, and you turned to me and you said, you know what? I performed here in this hotel for the very first time 60 years ago. That's what you said to me.
That is correct. That all came around after I coming over to this country after living in England for some time. And I was doing bits and pieces in the cabaret scene, and Jim Reynolds, Lord of Mercy on him, had started a Sunday night bingo in the Longford Arms. And it wasn't going very, very well. And he contacted me, Dermot. He said, I hear that you're singing a few songs. Would you ever come along in the middle of the bingo and do a little set? So I arrived, and the bingo crowds started to multiply and multiply and multiply. And that was actually 58 years ago.
Oh my God.
And from there, I got involved with the Longford Arms Saturday night cabaret session.
Yeah.
And that went from strength to strength.
And you've never looked back.
No, I never have. It has been an incredible journey.
And still going strong. And when I was reading, now we know each other a long, long time, but when I was reading about you over the weekend, I said to myself, I never knew that. And you know, nowadays I'm talking to people involved in the music business, and I always say to them, look, it's not easy. It can be long, it can be hard, it can be arduous, unless you have a lot of luck and you get a hit single, whatever the case may be. But you served your time, Mr. Hegarty. It didn't happen overnight now.
No, it did not. And there's one thing that I do say, that you cannot learn experience.
Yeah.
Experience has got to be gained. And every time that you go actually out on stage, you learn something. And it really is wonderful to hear feedback from the lads who used to play with me, like Tommy Flaherty, Longford here, and also Darren Sweeney. And they respond on Facebook, and they thank me for showing them how it should be done. Yeah. And that is applied in their lives.
And is that a sense of you serving your time?
Yes.
Because I know in tandem with the music, I think from a very early age, you wanted the music and nothing else. Now, you know, let's look back at that time in Ireland. Mum and Dad, Dermot, get the safe pensionable job and get that music thing out of your head. But in tandem with the music, you were doing everything from selling Bibles, whatever it takes to pay the bills. That's but at the end of the day, you wanted the music, and that was going to be it. Whatever you had to do to get there, you were prepared to do it.
That is correct, and because when I came back from Germany after working with Caxton Publishing Company, I tore a photograph out of my passport, and I sent it to the managing director of Jacob's Biscuits in Liverpool, and I suggested to them that they should employ me as one of their representatives, and I would do a great job. Now, I was going around in a little Morris Minor car and a little Tribbley hat, but I wanted to do the music. Yeah. And I started playing in a pub down in Kew Gardens in London on a Saturday night. And this was the music of the Share Roll Out the Barrel and all that old English stuff and things like that. So that's how it really started over there. And then I came along and formed a 5-piece group. But this is all prior. This is, again, the experience of managing a group and learning how to portray and also contact and rapport your audience.
Yeah, because I remember a long, long time ago, I was only thinking about this again at the weekend, I went to see you one night in the town hall in Claremorris. Yeah. And I was blown away because, look, we all know what you can do with that wonderful voice of yours, but the performance and, as you said, the rapport, the communication with the audience, I mean, you had mastered that, Dermot. I mean, I know for a fact nobody does it better.
Well, I learned way back that whether the crowd be 50 or 500 or 5,000 at some of the halls, if you concentrate on a number of people across the front of the stage.
Get that eye line. Yeah.
Speak to them, sing to them, and that it permutates right across the whole audience. Right. And that has always been my forte.
Yeah. Talk to me a little bit. So was it, as after all that time, serving your apprenticeship, having to hold down a few jobs just to pay the bills, was it then as simple as 21 years that brought about that massive change to your career?
21 years was an absolute accident, because I had been invited down to the family of a friend of mine who worked with Christy Monaghan down there, Sean Costello. And he said, the next time that you're around Shannagolden in County Limerick, he says, would you ever call in to see my mum? So the band were down there, and we met Sean's mother, and she invited us back to the house. And there was 10 of us. There was 8 in the band, and road manager and also manager. So the party started, and the house sing-song started, and she started to sing. Sean's mother started to sing, and she sang this song, and she called it The Prisoner. And I was intrigued with the song, and I had the tape recorder in the car. I brought it in and asked her, would she re-sing the song again? Yeah. She did it, and we were in the studio doing our first album with the Plainsmen. And we had 11 tracks completed, had to get one more track to make the 12. And the lad said, remember that song that that old lady sang down in Limerick? I said, I have it actually in the car on the tape recorder. Brought it in, no rehearsal, nothing, introduction, da 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 da, and there it was. Brought it over to McClurk on the finished tape, and I said, I don't think there's anything in it as a single. So he said, let me play it. Played it, picked out the song. He said, change the words of the last verse, which I intended to do in the first place. So we re-recorded it. And that was released in April of 1970.
And you really never looked back after that?
No, it was incredible. It was.
Because the secret is, if you can at all in this business, have yourself a hit single. It makes life so much easier. And then, you see, when you look at the Irish music scene and how it evolved over the years, and, you know, we had the so-called show band era, and then in the early 70s, you know, one could see that the show band thing was starting to, I won't say collapse, but things were changing. And then things started moving into what were known as the cabaret lounges. And you found your forte there. I think you were more at home, correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct.
Cabaret-wise.
Yes.
Because there was this element of singing your songs, performing, but there was that intimacy, which I know you were blown away by. You knew this was for you.
Yes, well, the experience in that respect, Joe, came from the cabaret sessions that I used to compere and sing at in the Longford Arms Hotel.
Wow.
Jerry McGill was the manager, Lord of Mercy and gone. He asked me, would you book the bands, the groups, and we had the Dubliners, we had the Wolf Tones, we had everybody. And I remember one particular incident when we were asked to find where the Furies lived. And Furies lived in Ballyfermot in Dublin. And it was my job to go up and pick Ted Fury and Finbar and Eddie Fury and bring them down to the Longford Arms Hotel. I drove to Dublin, made inquiries. I was told that they lived down in this particular area, and went down and met Ted Fury, the father, and he said, look, Dermot, come in and have a cup of tea. So we went into the caravan, had a cup of tea, and brought the boys down to Longford, fed them before the show. They did a marvellous show, brought them back again to Dublin that night after the show, went into the caravan and talked for 2 hours with the Furies. And actually, Finbar Fury mentioned that particular incident in a number of his interviews.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So we're in the cabaret scene now, Dermot Hegarty, in all sorts of manifestations with bands or what have you. And the beauty was that training, that formation that we talked about as regards Longford and the Longford Arms and different things in Ireland. You were able to bring that with you to the UK. And really and truly, very few enjoyed more success than you in the UK. I mean, you had a marvellous time, a very successful time touring the United Kingdom.
Well, it all started off, again, 21 years was the launching pad to my first introduction to the Carnegie Hall in New York and also to the Albert Hall in London. But again, as you say yourself, when you're surrounded by 7 guys, you have to take into consideration what they are doing on stage. And I remember at one particular wedding, it was a friend's wedding we were playing at, and we had a fiddle player, and long past, unfortunately, but he was a little bit fond of the whiskey on stage, and I didn't know this at the time because it was whiskey and orange.
Yeah.
But at this particular wedding, there was a clock facing him, and there was a pendulum on the clock, you know, going backwards and forwards like that. And I looked around and I could see Johnny going like this, and the eyes starting to close. And next thing I heard a crash. He was on the ground.
Yeah.
But these are the great experiences, and you cannot write these. These come absolutely, totally natural, and you take them for what they are.
Yeah.
But again, being surrounded by these lads, I still felt entrapped, enclosed, and I wanted to do solo work. And I got involved with Gertie Byrne in New York. I started booking her cruises and entertaining at them, and during those cruises, at the end of the shows, there was a piano lounge, and there was a guy playing piano in the lounge. And I remember one at the very, very beginning, second night at the cruise, I said, do you mind if I come along when you're finished your stint, or even a little bit before you finish your stint, and I would like to play the piano for my guests? So he said, absolutely no problem. And I said, the tip jar will be yours. We're not going to even touch it. Yeah. And after coming off stage at 12 o'clock, we used to carry on with the gang, and a sing-song would start until 4 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. And that went on for 7 years with Gertie Byrne.
Yeah. And then from the point of view of Britain and the success that you enjoyed, and you were not only entertaining but also emceeing at so many events and much sought after for that kind of work. I was just, nowadays when you talk to people about the England scene or Britain or what have you, once upon a time bands could go over on a Wednesday, they could do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, guaranteed work, no issues whatsoever. It's not there anymore,
no.
Dermot, is it? It's gone.
Now,
what's that telling us, I wonder?
Is telling you that the generation who used to love country and Irish music are now dying.
Yeah.
And those past souls have not been replaced by the younger generation. Yeah. The new trend at the moment, I seem to gather that there is a form of music called high energy Irish music.
Big time. That's where it's going now.
So I believe.
And the halls, well, if we can call them that, the venues are jam-packed with young people.
That's right. But they are reliving the songs of the Dubliners and the Clancy.
Oh, it's a reinterpretation of the songs that you were doing, the Dubliners and others, 35, 40 years ago.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And it is wonderful to see that.
Yeah.
Because it breathes a wonderful new fresh air into the whole entertainment scene.
Yeah.
I always have had a slight gripe in relation to Irish country and Western music.
Yeah.
There is only one man from Castleblaney who will introduce a song in his wonderful Castleblaney accent, sing the song in his wonderful Castleblaney accent, no American drawl.
Yeah.
And that is the gripe that I always have had with the guys who are big stars.
Use your own voice. Keep your own voice. Maintain your own style. Now, Joe, would you believe I cycled 3 miles to Conmorans to hear Dermot Hegarty sing every Monday night? When was that, Dermot Hegarty? There's one for you now. Where's Conmorans? Is that Rusk? No.
Conmorans is in 4 Mile House in County Roscommon.
Really?
Yeah.
Right, there you go.
It was during the time of my tenure with Jim Reynolds and the Longford Arms Hotel that one afternoon I was travelling out to the country, and I was in the company of a young lady, and we stopped at this pub, and I went in and I bought her an orange. I was drinking an orange, and there was a piano in the corner, right? And I sat down and started playing the piano. And after finished the bottle of orange, went outside, and Con came after me. And he said, "Who are you?" I said, "I'm Dermot Hegarty and I come from Longford. I'm recovering from an accident." He said, "You play piano?" "I do." So he said, "Would you like to play in my lounge?" I said, "Why not?" So I said, "I will do even better." I said, "I have in England at the moment a Vox Continental organ, keyboard, and I will bring that over." It was unheard of, the Vox Continental in Ireland at the time. Brought it over Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
In 4 Mile House?
In 4 Mile House for 18 months.
Yeah, who needs Las Vegas when you've got Hegarty in 4 Mile House?
It was incredible.
So there you go, and people remember it. Yeah. And another listener says, "Great to hear Dermot Hegarty on the wireless, a gentleman." Absolutely. "And great memories of time passed in 3 New Street, Longford." That's Noreen Heslin Conlon. That's now.
Oh yes, Noreen Conlon. Yes.
And another listener says, "Dermot, great listening to you on Shannonside Northern Sound. Brings me back to the great shows. They were the great old days. I remember with my late father, Johnny Farrell, and we went to see Dermot in the Temperance Hall. And these are lovely, lovely memories," says our listener, and more people calling in. And why not? And the good news is you had a busy weekend, because we're going to get to see you soon along with many others on the TV. It was recorded at the weekend. I mean, can you tell us about it, or have you been sworn to secrecy?
No.
Right.
No.
Well, tell us all about it, because you were in the RDS at the weekend.
I was in the RDS for the weekend, yes. Yeah. Purely by accident, I got involved with the Irish Elders Pensioner Choir in London.
Right.
And I was asked by Nora McCready, who was the CEO of this particular organisation, if I would come to Ireland and sing with the choir. So she told me that these gentlemen and ladies had never actually been in a recording studio, that only once.
Right.
And they had never seen a television studio. And we arrived in Dublin, and the rehearsal beforehand, this is absolutely incredible, because we were in the company of Damien Dempsey, Dermot Kennedy, Moving Hearts, Donald Lunny, Dermot Ferreter, Emma McCann, and they did a wonderful job. There were 200 staff looking after this show. It was probably the most incredible show that I've ever experienced. It was.
And this is a guy who's been in Carnegie, Albert Hall, many of the great venues of the world. But you said to me when you came in, it just blew you away.
The pale insignificance to that reception we got. Before we even sung a song, as we walked out on stage, the people started to clap. And this, I could not understand this. You know, there was no such thing as a compere. The show was done in segments, which is really great, because it gave the audience a chance to watch how the shows are coordinated with the stage crews. And when we walked off stage, we were second last on, almost top of the bill. And when we walked off the stage, the entire 200 people who were looking after the entire show had formed an arch for us to walk through and clap this off stage back to our dressing rooms. Incredible.
Well, we can't wait to see it. It'll be broadcast, I'm told, on the 30th of October.
Yes.
Put it in your diaries, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. And you're in Longford for a while,
I'm
at
in
least.
Longford for the next few hours.
All right. Then back to...
I go back to the UK tonight.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being
Joe,
with us. It's great to have you in studio again. Well, it's been a while.
It's been
too long.
Sometime in the last century I was with you.
Don't leave it as long.
Shall do
the
that.
Next time.
Okay.
Dermot Hegarty, thanks indeed.
Many thanks to you, and good morning to your listeners again.
Not at all, Dermot. All right, we'll take a break. Sport is next.